Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all viewers of this video. Allow me to introduce myself first yet again. My name is Christopher Indigo Soesanto. I am an international relations student at the LSPR Communication and Business Institute that's currently studying regarding public speaking and presentation skills under the supervision of Mr. Charles Bonar Sirait as the lecturer. In this video, I will be talking about climate change and us, in which has its relevance with Goal 13 from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. First things first, we need to define what climate change is to better understand it later on as we discuss the matter. Climate change itself is able to be defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Now, although the climate has indeed changed throughout the history, most of those changes are caused by small variations in the Earth's orbit. However, the climate change that we know it nowadays is characterized by an abrupt increase in the Earth's temperature. It's estimated that the Earth's temperature have gotten 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit warmer in just the last century, and has been increased 1.7 degrees Fahrenheit when calculated since the year 1880. According to scientists, this increase in the global temperature is able to be attributed due to the expansion of the greenhouse effect that's worsened due to the increase in greenhouse gases emission from human activities. Those greenhouse gases, or usually abbreviated to GHG, include gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. When calculated, the heat from the emissions that were produced by human would be roughly equal to 400,000 exploding Hiroshima atomic bombs across the planet every day. However, the concern here is not just that the Earth's getting warmer, but the rate of it as well. According to the UN, our world's temperature right now is about 1 degree hotter than pre-industrial times. That's set around the year 1800. This may come as a surprise to you, but that 1 degree increase in temperature is actually still tolerable. In fact, the UN even said that if we were to get warmer by 1.5 degrees Celsius before the end of the century, we'll still be fine. The UN even goes as far as saying that the increase of 2 degrees Celsius would still probably be alright for us. But the catch there was if they were to hold until just before the century ends. Nonetheless, the problem here is its speed or rate of increase, since right now we are on track to hit 1.5 degrees in only 10 years. If we don't slow down that rate, a catastrophe could wreak havoc in the near future. According to various research that have been concluded and conducted, sea levels are observed to be rising about 3 millimeters a year. This is due to the fact that seawater expands as temperature becomes warmer. Melting ice sheets and glaciers also add trillion tons of fresh water into our oceans. Since 1994, each year on average, the Earth has lost 400 billion tons from its glaciers. Scientists argued that the rate of the ocean rising has occasionally hit 1 foot per decade. If emissions were to continuously be unchecked, we'd be looking at a rise of between 80 to 160 feet, in which would occur if all the ice in the polars melted. If the polar ice caps melt, it'll give an even huge rise on the ocean level, leaving most of the world's coastal cities like India, Vietnam, China, and Japan to be several feet underwater within an approximate of 80 years. The ocean here has become one of the biggest victims due to climate change. Although 50% of the Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean, aside from seawater rise, climate change has managed to increase the global temperature of the oceans by 0.3 degrees Fahrenheit since 1969. Warmer water could then lead to ocean acidification, which could be defined as the rise of acidity in the ocean's chemistry as a direct effect from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere reacting to salt water. To elaborate further on the chemical process behind ocean acidification, we could first see on how the ocean absorbs approximately 30% of the carbon dioxide that's released in the atmosphere. The pH scale is then on inverse of hydrogen ion concentration. So more hydrogen ion translates to higher acidity and a lower pH. After so, water and carbon dioxide would then combine to form carbonic acid, a weak acid that breaks or dissociates into hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. Since the late 18th century, the ocean surface acidification has been reported to have an increase for about 30%. A higher acid content means calcifying species like oysters, clams, and shell water corals are at risk, putting the entire ocean food web at jeopardy. To combat the impacts of climate change, there are several things that could be done. One of them is through the increased use of renewable energy sources to fuel up appliances and even in workplaces. As have been mentioned briefly in my previous video, one of the benefits of using renewable energy to combat climate change is due to the fact that they don't produce direct greenhouse gas emissions. Due to so, renewable energy is then be able to decrease pollution and therefore reduce threats to our health as well. Another reason on why renewable energy is able to be seen as a reliable source of power is able to be seen from four aspects. First would be because they will never run out. Secondly, renewable energy facilities cost fairly little to operate. Third, the fuel for renewable energy is often free. Lastly, renewable energy prices tend to be stable over time. Although renewable poses a considerable amount of benefits, it also, however, not without downsides. Those downsides could be seen through how it is difficult for renewable energy sources to generate power on the same large-scale production as fossil fuels. A relating factor to that would be due to the construction of wind farms and dams that could disrupt the wildlife and migration patterns, which could then lead to an ecological destruction. Another factor that's still deemed as one of the downsides would be on how both solar and wind energy are intermittent. They only generate power when the sun is shining or while the wind is blowing. There exist batteries to store the excess energy for later use, however they are often costly. Currently, the use of renewable energy sources have been steadily rising up, and about 73% of global renewable energy utilizes hydropower. In the field of hydropower, turbines and generators are used to produce electricity in hydro plants. The physics behind them would come from how the mechanical energy is created by moving water spins rotor on the turbine. The turbine is then connected to an electromagnetic generator in which produces electricity when the turbine spins. In hydroelectric production, there are two main types that are in use. They are dams and run-off river. Regarding its benefits and concern, the benefits of hydropower are that their form of electricity is competitive, reliable, and could be used as base load power, since it pairs well with other sources of energy. In addition to that, dam reservoirs can also function for flood control and be reliable sources for communities. However, the concerns that are able to be raised are due to their impact on the wildlife habitats, in which could disrupt the ecological balance and due to its leaving GHG indirectly from its constructions. However, nowadays there are more avant-garde form of a hydropower generator such as the vortex turbine that's relatively easy to be installed and could be integrated in synergy with its surrounding. Nonetheless, the efforts to combat climate change doesn't always have to come in massive infrastructure or such. We too could have combat it little by little by reducing unnecessary consumption and waste, use things that are reusable, not disposable, recycle goods so that there would be less waste that could become pollutants, and most importantly, speak up about it to raise more awareness. By doing so, you have contributed in realizing SDG 13 on climate actions, specifically Target 13.3, which focuses on improving education awareness, raising, and human and institutional capacity on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early warning. With that being said, this video has reached its end, and I hope that this could be of use to broaden the insight on climate change and hopefully inspire more people to join in the combat against climate change. If you have any questions, feel free to ask about it in the comment section. Thank you for watching.